YouTube, what the crap's going on? HeirofCarthage here, back on Total War Rome 2, and this is going to be another online battle. This time myself playing as Galatia versus Carthage. Apparently, people just like bringing Carthage against the HeirofCarthage. Nah, it's okay. You all can play whoever you want. I just thought it was kind of funny because my last couple of matches were against Carthage, but that's okay. They're a cool faction. I can't blame people for using them. I like them myself. So, my opponent this time, bringing Mercenary Scutari, which is potentially a fairly cost-effective unit. Depends on what it's going up against. In this case, against Galatia, it's almost certainly going to be going up against Galatian Legionnaires, which are just better. Now, they are more expensive, but they're better. And I've got no mercenaries, just 4 Noble Horse, 2 Galatian Raiders, which is a very capable horse skirmisher. It's also capable in melee. Noble Horse is a brutally tough unit, and it's for 2 reasons. I think I've explained it before, but I'll explain it again so you all understand it. Here I am trying to get line of sight on the enemy, and sure enough I spot 3 Carthaginian cav over here, and then the rest of his army. My opponent's playing smart. He didn't want to rush the hill, and that was a really good decision, because he's got 4 Cretan archers, and there's no need to rush a hill when you need to skirmish. So, excellent decision on the part of my opponent there. But I have a rush army, so I'm rushing forward. In any case, so back to Noble Horse. It's effective for 2 reasons. One, you can see down here is this expert charge defense. That means that units that charge this one, they get well, it says right here, this unit's melee attack and damage are increased against charging enemies. So it doesn't take away the enemy's charge bonus, but it makes my unit even stronger when you're charging it. And then you have this Encourage Aura, which is great. You also have Frenzied Charge. So between Frenzied Charge and Expert Charge defense, the Noble Horse is going to be very competent. And then I've got 4 spear units on the field to help assist them. And these Galatian Raiders were going to be serving one of 2 purposes, or perhaps both. One, and the main one I brought them for, is because with a rush army, one of your main dangers is elephants. And with these Galatian Raiders, I could potentially kill his elephants. They're quick, they can get in and out of range, his elephants would have a hard time catching them. You can use flaming javelins to run them amok, or you can use standard shot to try and kill them. So Galatian Raider is going to be a good way to try and get to his elephants, while my Noble Horse are intended to bring down his own horsemen. Now my opponent could be bringing Mercenary Campanian Cav, which he did. I don't know who would win in a fight head-to-head, Mercenary Campanian Cav versus Noble Horse. It would be a fight of heavyweights to be certain, and may depend on a few different factors. If you got Frenzied Charge off at the Noble Horse, though, it's going to be close. Because the Noble Horse has 44 melee defense to only 30 on that Campanian Cav, though the Campanian Cav has 69 attack as opposed to the 51. Let's see, 43 weapon damage there as well, as opposed to my 36. So you're going to get a lot more bang here, and you're going to get a lot more holding power out of the Noble Horse. Scutari, how do they stack up against Galatian Legionnaires? If you take a look, their attack is actually better, their melee attack, but their weapon damage is considerably lower, 9 points lower. They have a good charge bonus, though, at 21. Strong melee defense. It's actually a lot of melee defense for a barbarian unit. Their armor is actually higher than visually what it looks like. 50 armor is not great, but it's not bad. 45 health could be better, and 51 morale could be better. But for the price, you get a pretty good unit out of the Mercenary Scutari. So how would they match up in a head-to-head fight? So Galatian Legionnaires, more weapon damage, better charge bonus, more melee defense. Well, actually equal melee defense. Almost equal. There's 3 more melee defense on my Galatian Legionnaires. One of the big differences, though, is armor. 65 armor to 15, 50 health to 45, and 60 morale to 51. So both of them are non-formation attack units. So in this particular case, my opponent's going to have a hard time dealing with my Galatian Legionnaires head-to-head. He can do it, though, if he uses his missiles and his cavalry proper. He would be able to win that engagement, but I don't want to make it easy for him to use his missiles, so I'm going to lead my men with some mercenary, I always call stuff mercenaries nowadays. Everybody's a mercenary, I guess. No, anyway, I'm going to use these Levy Freemen to see if I can bait any volleys out of his Cretan archers. No such thing happens. My opponent's going to choose his targets. And let's go ahead and slow it down here for a second. So I'm going to use another screening tactic here. So, and actually I will pause it. So let me explain the positioning that I have. So if you look at the battle... I've got a rush coming in towards my opponent. And I think I accidentally just hit the mute button on my microphone for a second. Hopefully it wasn't muted. anywhere before that. But yeah, so I've got a rush coming in on my opponent. So my main goal here, and let me, okay, I'm zoomed in where you should be able to see it. No, I'm accidentally scrolling the screen down. Just give me my paint. So I'm going to attack his infantry head on. I'm using, I used Control G to group my infantry, and then I clicked an attack order right in the center of his swords, which means that my 5 infantry ought to engage his 5 head-to-head, and that means that I can now forget this block of units. And if you see what I'm setting up with my spears, I'm leading to protect against cav charges and missiles, but also one of my main ideas here is that I'm going to bring a spear unit here, and I'm going to bring a spear unit here from both flanks. See that? And I'm going to try and pin his cavalry down while I engage this way with my own cavalry. That means that in a square infantry fight, my guys should win. Even if he reinforces the cav fight with his late Libyans, I've got my own spearmen to intercept. And then that's where my Galatian raiders come in to play the key role here, being able to harass his backlines and skirmishers. So let's see how this plays out. See if I maneuver properly. I've got it in slow motion at the moment, but you can see, I'll hold the spacebar so you can see my orders. Here's where I start screening out his cavalry on both flanks. And again, see how my spearmen lead my cavalry here? So it puts his cavalry in an awkward position. He's going to have to pull back and try and get a better engagement. So you either pull back or you get charged, and in this case I'm already ready to charge his men and kind of force this engagement. I think my opponent should have pulled back here and engaged my spearmen with his own, and then taken the cav fight on better terms. It's going to be a difficult situation for him though, and I am charging directly towards him. He can't really kite away with his own infantry because yeah, I mean, he just doesn't have any cavalry or anything else to kind of hold up my infantry from this engagement. So here comes the engagement. These mercenary Scutari were going for the cav fight. They're going to get intercepted by my Legionnaire, which is going to be bad. And then across the main line, here comes the rest of my engagements. And look, immediately Galatian raiders into his Cretan archers, so now they can't fire. His infantry did not get a charge down the center. That's going to be bad as well. He did use his general abilities, which are going to boost his men. And then here I've got his horsemen trapped with my spears. And I'm going to do one more screening maneuver here. I'll keep this cavalry to engage his own, keep it for my backlines, but he leaves a small opening for me here, and I've got another unit to come around and harass his backlines, while his other cavalry now would have to come clear back around my spears, who now kind of have this area, they kind of have this area boxed out. So his cavalry is now in a bad position. It's going to have to fight back uphill. Meanwhile, this cav engagement up here against the mercenary companion cav was costly for me. I lost a bunch of spears, but it was worth it. I'm killing one unit, and we're going to eventually be able to wrap up the other. And then look at my Galatian raiders here. It's got one of his cav units busy. His general is now going to have to be forced to intercept this this other unit because I'm threatening his archers. And this mercenary noble horse just mopping up archers while his infantry line is going to eventually fail to my Galatian legionnaires because they're just a better unit. If my opponent would have brought Libyan infantry here, this would have been a different fight. I don't know if Galatian legionnaires can take Libyans head-on. It certainly would have been a more difficult fight. If he would have brought elephants, it would have been a much trickier gambit for me as well, because the elephants would have had to have been dealt with by my horsemen. And with that many Cretan archers, he could kind of keep his elephants within their protective radius, and it would have been very difficult for me to deal with his elephants. I had to bring them in at just the right moment. But that's the thing, is just one good elephant charge, it can sway the battle. Understandably so. So I would have recommended he brought elephants in this battle, but a lot of people don't like to bring elephants. They think they're too powerful. Elephants are a very powerful unit in the game, but I don't think they're too powerful. They can be dealt with. And that's just one of the risks of taking an army like I have here, is that dealing with elephants is going to be your main threat. This mercenary companion cav here, 80 kills, even in this bad position it's been in. Fantastic unit, extremely strong. It took a lot of my units to help wrap it up. He's bringing his general bodyguard in from behind, trying to get some extra kills. And he'll get a few. So, impressive fight from the Carthaginian units. A fun game against my opponent. Hope y'all enjoyed this one. And in this case, my strategy worked. If my opponent would have been able to disrupt me on the charge, it would have badly hindered my ability to win the battle. So even just using like a spear unit or something to disrupt my Galatian charge. Of course, you know, he didn't really have any spear units to spare because of that difficulty in the cav fight. It was just really going to be difficult for him. I think that bringing an elephant unit here would have been the way to go. Or potentially running your, like interrupting my charge with one of your cavalry units, my infantry charge. may have bought you some time as well. Not sure. I mean, I think he did pretty well in certain areas. Again, he didn't rush the hill. He didn't rush the engagement when he knew he needed to skirmish. Some of you could say, well, he should have backed off of that engagement when you charged him. Potentially, but it's like, where are you going to run to at that point? He can't just keep running because my cavalry is going to be able to catch him if I want to. He has to take some form of engagement there. Not being able to protect those Cretan archers was a big key too. Like for instance, if he would have brought more infantry rather than Cretan archers, I would have been in trouble again. He just didn't get a chance to really employ the Cretan archers to their best potential against me. Anyway, Heir of Carthage signing off for now. Hope you all enjoyed it.